voice isn't sounding too great right now. I've been a little sick for like the last week or so. I've had a really bad cough and some other fun stuff, but we just got done with Thanksgiving, and so it was making me think about well, for the last long bit, me and your mom hadn't really celebrated Thanksgiving the normal American way. It's just been the two of us, so there's not been a whole reason to make a whole big feast and stuff like that. And well, with your mom being German too, that was something that's an American holiday, so she never grew up with Thanksgiving the way that I grew up with it. And so what I remember about Thanksgiving growing up is that when I lived in Illinois, most of the time we did Thanksgiving at my Uncle Mike's house. His house was like the only house that was big enough for like my grandma, granddad, and uncle and aunt and all of us to come to. So we would do, and he had the nicest house, so we would go to Uncle Mike's house, which I've talked about before. But I don't really remember much of the food. That's never been like a big thing for me, food. So well, foods I don't like, that's a different thing that I'll talk about another time. But you know, we'd always do it at Uncle Mike's house. And then once everything kind of fell into place and moved down to Arkansas with my mom, it was always at Mom and Lloyd's house. And Mom would cook, you know, turkey, and Lloyd would fry a turkey, and the cornbread stuffing, and Mom would make like 18 different pies, which I've never been a pie guy, but you know, she'd have pecan pies and pumpkin pies and all this different stuff, and she would figure out what kind of pie everybody wanted, and she'd make one for everybody. So that was that. And then joining the Army. The cool thing about being in Germany and the time I was in Germany is that if there was a big vacation, if there was a big holiday like that, normally someone in your platoon that was married would be like, hey, to all the single guys, or just in general, the platoon sergeant or somebody would, you know, bring everybody together. That way you weren't alone on like Thanksgiving or Christmas. And we also had a kitchen in the barracks. But you know, I remember being invited to different people's houses that, you know, well, one year was spent in Kosovo, one year was spent in Iraq, and then in between Kosovo, it was just a crazy time because we got back from Kosovo, we got new tanks, we got training on the tanks, we shot gunnery on the tanks to qualify for the tanks. We came back like 2 or 3 days. Then we went to Hohenfels to train to go to Iraq for a month. And then we got back right before Thanksgiving. That would have been 2003. And then rolled right into going to recovery, and then went to Iraq. So, and before Valentine's Day 2004, which I'll talk about that more later. But so I'm trying to think of the year. It couldn't have been 2004. I'm wanting to say it was probably 2005. For Thanksgiving, your mom and your Tante Kirsten thought it would be a good idea or a nice gesture to fix Thanksgiving dinner for me and her husband at the time, who was also a soldier, a Thanksgiving dinner. And so I didn't know exactly what was going on because I had like duty the night before they did this, so I was sleeping. So I've been up for like a day, and so they got a turkey, and they were going to make a traditional American Thanksgiving dinner with like turkey and mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese and all that stuff. And so they're big about like washing their meat before they cook it. And so the turkey that they got was too big for the sink in the house. So they thought, okay, we'll just take the turkey over to the bathtub and we'll spray it off with the shower nozzle. They have one of the wands that you can take off and, spray around with. And so, like I said, I had no clue that any of this was going on. And then, like, after everything was all said and done, your mom was like, I am never cooking another turkey for as long as I live. And I was like, okay, what happened? And so she was explaining that as she did that, they turned the turkey up, and she didn't know that they stuffed like a lot of the internal organs, or they call like the giblets and like the turkey neck, inside the turkey in a little bag. So they turned the turkey up and it pooped out all the stuff onto the bathtub, and kind of traumatized her. So she said that she would never cook another turkey. I was like, okay. But moving forward, like, it hasn't been that big of an issue to me about Thanksgiving and stuff. I understand it's not something she grew up with, so I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But there were a couple times that we invited a couple people over. But so what happened after we got married, we moved to El Paso and Texas to Fort Bliss. And we kind of switched what we did for a while. Like, if you want to call it the tradition, we switched up what we did. Well, when we got there, your mom switched to being a vegetarian. And this is like 2006. So that was a big learning curve for us, because there weren't as many options then as what there are now for being vegetarian, things of that nature. So we kind of switched the tradition. We didn't do like turkey and all the stuff that would go along with it. Normally what we would do is we switched to a meatless meatloaf. And we'd have the meatloaf and like mashed potatoes and rolls and stuff like that. And that became kind of the tradition for a while. And, for the last, I don't know how long, it just, Thanksgiving has just kind of been another day. We might make some big food and stuff like that and rolls, but we haven't celebrated like a traditional American style Thanksgiving. Especially, there's no need to do it with just the two of us. But you know how it is. Well, you don't, but when you have kids, you start thinking about stuff. And I think like I said, it hasn't been that big of a thing to me. I would have went either way. But it is nice to have those traditions, and I think that's what your mom has been wanting to try to do a little bit more, is to have like that family tradition of a American style Thanksgiving. That way, if someone asks about Thanksgiving, it's not as crazy as most people, because we live in Georgia. My family is in Illinois and in Arkansas, so that's like a day drive to go to either one of them, and then we have the animals and all that stuff, so it's not like it's easy just to go there for a weekend or whatever. And then, like I said, your mom's family, is from Germany, so they don't even celebrate Thanksgiving. So, but I think, like I said, we're just wanting to try to get it to where it's more traditional. That way you have more of a normal tradition of growing up is what Thanksgiving is. And as time goes by, you're about to turn 5, and we'll have your brother in a little over a month too. So who knows, one day as time goes on and the family gets a little bit bigger, maybe we can have more of a traditional style turkey and all that other fun stuff, Thanksgiving, or who knows, maybe we might try to go to Arkansas one time. We'll just have to see how things go. But I haven't done one of these in a couple weeks. I did That's not important, but I mess with my cars on another little channel that I got, and I did a little rant about how I don't like Dodge, but I'm a Ford guy, so who cares? But here I am rambling again. So I guess I don't have no big lesson or anything like that. Oh, I was just thinking. So you've kind of started to get to like watching football a little bit. And I guess you had popcorn at school. You used to never like popcorn, but now you want popcorn. So you'll ask me to make you some popcorn, and I'll make some popcorn, and then we'll sit down. And the first question you ask when we turn a game on is, who's winning? And I'll say whatever team is winning, and then you'll say, that's who I am. You're the other ones. And so it doesn't matter what the teams are. It's whoever's winning. That's who you want to be. And you're rooting for the team that's always winning, which is kind of funny and cute at the same time. But I guess if you do ever watch these, you're learning about me a little bit, and as I'm doing it, I'm trying to talk about you too. What else did we do recently? We both, you were out of school for the whole week for Thanksgiving, and then I was off for a bunch of days, but like I said, I've been sick. We did your favorite thing of a campfire. They finally came and picked up all the stuff in the front yard from the hurricane, and so there was a bunch of leaves and stuff in the front yard, a few little branches and stuff like that, and so it's getting time to put up the stuff for Christmas, all the decorations, all the inflatables that you've picked out for the yard. And so oh, sorry, cleaned up the front yard a bunch from all the leaves and stuff from the hurricane debris, and we burned all that, which you had a lot of fun doing. You really like burning stuff. I get it, so do I. And then we put up all the inflatables for Halloween, for Christmas. We got a Grinch one. You really love the Grinch. You got your huge Grinch pillow, which you really love. And I don't think I have pictures of all this, but it'd be kind of hypocritical of me not to do something like that. And the reason that I say that is, so the first time I was in Iraq, it was my first niece's birthday coming up, and the twins were just born from my brother, and so I thought it'd be nice to send them something. And at the time, my youngest niece would have been about 2, 3, something like that. Yeah, 3. And I found on Amazon like a 2-foot stuffed Nemo, and I was like, that's funny. So I did that, and I started looking like, well, if I get her a 2-foot stuffed animal, I got to get 2 for the twins. And I found these dogs, and so my brother got 6 feet of stuffed animals all at the same time, mostly because I thought it was funny. And then he didn't really think that was too funny, but oh well. And then he had 3 more kids, and each time that he had another kid, I sent him another 2-foot stuffed animal. And he said, you know, this ain't funny. I got all these stuffed animals. I'm like, well, stop having kids and I'll quit doing it. And so I think it was 7 years ago now, because a little thing popped up on Facebook. I was back home in Arkansas. I think this was right as I was getting out of the Army. It would have had to been. I went home for Thanksgiving because that was the first time that I'd been home for Thanksgiving in years. And I didn't want to, but I went Black Friday shopping, which was crazy back then, going in stores and standing in lines and people fighting and just, you know, all kind of madness. But I look over and there's this huge stuffed unicorn, and it was like $20-25. It had to be 3-4 feet long, something like that. Like, it took up the whole back seat of the Fiesta. And out of a fun thing, I took a picture of it and I sent it to my sister, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about me getting this for Ellie? And she's like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. Not realizing that I'm, diabolical. And so I bought this giant stuffed unicorn for her. And so I take it over to her house, and my sister's like, oh my God. And I was like, you should have known when I sent you a picture of it that it was going to be ridiculous. And she's like, yeah, I should have. But Ellie saw it, and she ran up and grabbed it, and she called it Uni. And I think she still got it. Last time I asked, she still had it. That was like one of the first times I ever seen that girl get tired. She was lugging that thing around, and it just wore her out. And so we saw, you're a fan of the Grinch. You got the last year I bought How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and we got the Grinch movies and stuff. And I bought How the Grinch Lost Christmas, the sequel to How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And so you like the Grinch. And so they had this big Grinch pillow. And, suffice to say, your mom's not too happy that I bought it. But I would kind of be a hypocrite if I didn't do it to myself, since I did it to both my brother and my sister, because I think it's funny. And just, you were asking, when's he going to get here? Because I tried ordering it online, and it was going to take too long. So I just bought it in the store. And when you saw it, you just smiled and ran over and grabbed it. And, the last few days when you watch TV, you throw it on the floor and you lay on it and you watch TV sitting on it. So it's worth her being aggravated at me, because it makes you happy. So I think that's about enough running my mouth or bumping my gums or whatever that you want to say for today. And who knows what the next one will be. Maybe I'll try to talk about what happened after we moved to Arkansas and then moving back to Illinois, is like the time frame for my story leading up to stuff. But who knows what happens in between now and then. Hopefully I have a whole lot of time to tell all these stories, and you'll never watch them because you'll hear them from me. But who knows what tomorrow will bring. So just want you to know that I love you, and I'm looking forward to your birthday in a couple weeks. And I know you'll have a good time. Bye, Bob.